felt we had received from God, that he was going to outlive this diagnosis. That was, that was seven. I'm not good at math. 16 years ago, and my dad is retired and still goes hunting on his own and does all the things. That's a 5-year or less diagnosis. And that's what they told him was get your things in order and live as comfortably as you can. And he still does what he wants to do. He's at home. They're building a new house. So that's, that's an experience with God. But to my part of the testimony is I get through that, and then I firmly believe that, my father's going to be healed. He's going to outlive this thing. He's going to see me get married and see me have kids, and my brother's gotten married and have kids, and we've done all these things. We beat all this, but then I got comfortable. I started going through high school, and I got older, and I'm running around with friends, and, I'm riding that fence. That what you would read about lukewarm. I'm not trying to get too far into what some of their stuff they're doing, but I don't want to just go all in on church either. I don't want to go all in on Jesus because what if they make fun of me? What if they do this? What if they do that? So silly. And it got progressively a little worse. I graduated high school. I go off to college, and I never stopped believing. Like, I knew Jesus was Lord, but I stopped practicing. I was like, Jesus, he's got my back. My mom's praying for me. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to have this good time in college. I'm going to go make my own decisions. I'm not really going to make decisions about anyone else. It's all about me. And I lived that way most of the time, 4.5 years, 5 years. And, I can remember in college, which it's kind of funny. I never, like I said, I never stopped believing, but I can remember, like professors do in college, making, you can, the jabs, you believe in God, and I really had to I kind of examine my faith. Like I said, I was going to church. I'd come home and go to church with my family because I knew my mom and dad wanted me to. But I wasn't really doing it for me. I wasn't trying to get any closer to God. I was just doing it to uphold the image of that I'm a Christian. But in secret, living a different life when I'd run back off to college. But I did have this self-reflection, and I can remember it because it took me about a weekend. I didn't come home that weekend, and there was this class, and I was like, and they're challenging you on your faith and trying to make you feel very small that you would ever believe in a creator, which sounds silly because I feel like it would take way more faith to believe this all happened by accident than that there would be a divine creator in all of this. And I just kind of remember talking to God and just like, I need to come to this conclusion on my own. I have been raised in church. I've never known anything but being a Christian and Jesus and praying. And my example was there with all my family. My grandparents, I went to church with them. My aunt, my uncle, my parents. On the other side, they all went to West Liberty Baptist Church. So I've just always been in church. But I don't know that after I kind of got away from that youth group and I got comfortable in my own rut, I don't know that I ever consciously on my own said, is this what I'm going to believe in the rest of my life? And I can remember talking to God through that weekend, and I don't even really remember what it was, but my soul just kind of fell at ease. It's like, no, this is right. Like, and I'm still not really doing what I should be doing, but I know what I do believe in is true. Like, I just don't believe that they're right, and they can be condescending if they want. That's fine. I'm not going to change my mind. And from that moment, my faith really kind of settled in. I don't remember ever having those doubts or going back and forth, but I did not start practicing. It was kind of the same thing. It's like, yeah, all right, me and God are good. I'm on. See you. I'm going to do my thing again. So fast forward a little bit longer. I get married, and I straighten up a little bit because I got married, But then I still felt like I was like, we're going to church, and I'm trying my best. But I was like, I'm not. And I finally had this realization that I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. You kind of quit caring about your friends at that point. I don't really care what others think. I've got my core group, and we all think alike. But I wasn't leading like I was supposed to be leading. And then I've had two other friends who you can ask my wife, my phone blows up all day long, and it was just us talking about nonsense usually. But one night we struck up this conversation about both of them grew up in church. Their families, they were still going to church. They're both married. And we had this really honest conversation one night of just, what are we doing? We just kind of looked at each other, and we were all living the same lie of, yeah, we're Christians and we believe, but we're not showing any fruit from that. It's just a belief. So we started this little men's group on a Wednesday night on our phones. We would just FaceTime in, and we had some of the most honest and open discussion we would be crying and just talking about all the mistakes we've made along the way. And from that moment, it was never more fitting than the scripture of where two or more are gathered. Like, I don't know that I've ever felt God so strong as I had in this group of 3 or 4 gentlemen who were all on their phone. We weren't in person, but we were there with the core discussion being our faith in God and how we needed to change to lead our families and lead those around us. And so that when people see me out and about, I represent my faith, my family, and this church the way that I should be representing them. So this goes on for about 2 years. Every Wednesday night we would meet, and we got and it ballooned up to about 12 people at one point, 12, all men about our age. And like anything does, fire goes out in some. They go, everybody's lives are busy, and they kind of go out, and it was right back to the same core 3. And we kind of continued on, and we've something we've wanted to focus on was reading the Bible. Like we knew these scriptures, but it was kind of VBS scriptures. We had them memorized. We had none of the 3 had read the book from the start to finish, and we kind of had that honest discussion of how silly is it to believe in something that you've never read. What's in the book. So we read the New Testament in about 6 months and have this great discussion, and we start the Old Testament, which was a grind at times to get through some of it. But we finished that, and as we've kind of gone through that, God really just started to splinter us, but in a good way. We weren't relying on each other anymore. It was us individually relying on God. I think he used that group to get us to the point, and it's like, okay, we got to turn loose of each other a little bit. One of them's a deacon at the church in Poto, so he's serving his church. I get up here and act like I can sing on Sundays and Wednesdays sometimes, and the other one is helping with the youth group at his church. So, I say all that to just kind of show you that, I faked it for a long time. Really did. And I'm not perfect now, by no means. I still fall short daily. But I know when I do, and I care when I do. That's the difference that I see in myself. There was no conviction for my actions for a long time. And if there was, I'd just shove it aside as quick as I could. There was like, hey, you're not supposed to be doing this. Yeah, okay, and then I'll straighten up for a Sunday. I'll come home. I'll go to church. Yeah, I'll go to church. And then I'm back to the same old lie. But, and saying all of that, to me, it's important that everyone knows me. And I think that was the message God laid on his heart. It's like, tell them what I've done for you, because my story's pretty cool, and I think that I lived it, so I'm super used to it. But my dad's not supposed to be here, and as a family, I don't know that we ever handled that perfectly, but I think we handled it probably about as well as we could have. We never relinquished our faith. I can remember stories of my mom just running off into the pasture and crying out to God, and me and my brother are just kind of looking through the window like, what's going on? Because we weren't told the severity of the situation we were in. But I don't get to talk about that very often. Dad does, but I don't get to talk about my side of living that experience, and it's a good testament to how God can pull you right out of something and then put you here, and then you'll just step off in something else. As soon as you get comfortable, you get that behind you, you get really casual in your faith. And I think sometimes we're all probably guilty of getting really comfortable. We show up on Sundays and we check the box, and I try to remind myself every time I step on stage that, I'm singing praises to the creator of the universe who knows me by name. And it's not just a song. Like, it's not just lyrics on a screen that we've known or we've all sang forever. Like, if you'll stop and examine the words, and I remind myself of that, try to, because I'm not always in the best mood when I get here. Sometimes my 4-year-olds drive me crazy. I'm stressed out, and I get up here, and then almost always when I get done singing, I'm like, man, I feel great. It's what I needed, and I just the power in that, and I ended up here, but the power and to me in praising God and just showing the vulnerability of, like, I don't think, he's God. I'm not above anything. He's above all. And I think the praise for me, that's my reflection of just kind of looking at God and saying, all right, this is all you. This is all about you. It's not about me. I hold the mic just so that maybe y'all will sing too, because I know not everybody loves to sing loud, but that's kind of me in a nutshell. That was kind of what God laid on my heart, was just to get up here and let you guys know about me. I might inevitably raise my hand some Sundays, so don't run out of here. I grew up a little Baptist, like the preacher said. So, And I'm thankful that y'all allow me up here, and I appreciate it.